Hello, hello. It is time for another Dut or Do You Think Tank stream tonight. Got some issues to talk about. We got some things to talk about. We got all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're going to have some fun tonight. But we do have some serious topics to go across tonight. And we are going to have some fun, but we got some serious topics to go over tonight. Um, One of the topics we're going to be covering is some issues with core timeouts on Ophelia. We're going to be covering some other topics in regards to lag, um, inability to fly, inability to do things. One topic that was brought up was people were interested in discussing issues when placing static blueprints. So we got some things we got a few topics to cover tonight, and we want to make sure that we get the information in and get it in clearly and get the information very well understood. You'll probably notice, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the stream is set up to where I'm broadcasting at 1440 now instead of 720. Um, so I'm hoping it looks a little bit better. I don't know if Twitch is minimizing that, but yeah, I'm putting it out at 1440. So here, that is my sorting rack for my factory. That's raw. That's pure materials. That's the distribution hub. Yeah. So if you are interested in joining us in voice tonight, we do have some open slots tonight. It's not as crowded, so you'll be able to get some people down here if you're interested. If you want to join us in voice chat, you got to jump into Holding Tank A on the Discord and type in live voice request chat what you want to talk about, and we will pull you down. Hey, Drax. Hey, Ginger.
Hello.
Hey, Linear.
Hello.
I got pop that out. Let's pop that out so we can get that on chat. Okay, there we go. And for now, until we get more people in here, I'll leave it up like that so you can see who's talking. If you are interested in joining us tonight, please jump into the holding tank. We need some people to chime in on this conversation. So, holding tank A in the DU Think Tank Discord. If you are not in that Discord, I'm about to post the link. That is the link to join the Discord.
I'm gonna be back and forth tonight, sir, but I'm still working, so.
No problem.
So is there a particular topic tonight?
Yeah, we got a few of them we're going to go over and get started here in a minute. I'm going to be going over cores and stuff first.
Okay, cool.
We're going to do one more organization core walkthrough and basic information. And I'm about to shoot a child.
Story of my life.
Bedtime. I love you. Good night. I love my kids. They're crazy, but they're my kids. Hey, this is my first time being back up to the space station since the elevator exploded. Let's see if I explode again.
What, did it clip the space station or something, or what?
Ah, it landed and bounced up in the air and started blowing up.
That's weird. What's that out there?
That? That's obliviously adventurous.
Oh, okay. It looked like it was just like floating in the air, but that's actually on terrain. Never mind.
Here we go. Let's see if I die. Looks like we're good.
Chances are it was bouncing off one of those ships that are close by there.
I've been working on this. Okay. I'm going to just stand over here on top of something looking off in the distance in game while we go over a few things. Wolfpack, what's up? That was a boring landing. You'll do better next time. What, you want me to blow it up? Ah, I see. Resource, Abadacus, y'all want to join us in voice? Wolfpack? Abba. Okay, so the first thing we are going to go over tonight is something that's popped up multiple times. Let me see if I can find somebody, I'm not sure who, made a graphic. I'm going to put that graphic up in stream. Image. Add source. New image. Add source. Desktop. Okay, so this, which I will make bigger, is something somebody posted in the DU Discord, and my Discord has been making its way around. You're hearing the AC going? There we go. Is that better? Okay, so this image is something a lot of people have been seeing around. This image is probably the best understanding and best basic thing about the cores. I am going to post this under announcements and pin it on the DU Think Tank Discord. Okay, so it will be there available if anybody needs it or wants to share it. Posted and pinned. Oh yeah, pin it. There we go. It is up in the Discord. Juveneus made it. Awesome. Okay, well, if anybody is speaking to him or talks to him, please tell him the DU community says thank you. You did an amazing job. It's very clean, easy to understand, and well done. But let's go over some other stuff. Okay. So, we're going to cover these basic topics first, then we're going to get into the subject for tonight as we get more people into the stream and put this at the first of the stream so that way we can get this out of the way. If you hit F3 and go to your orgs, this is your home screen. There we go. Okay, home screen. This is your home screen and your window. First thing you're going to notice on the right side, you have a new panel, construct slots. This tells you how many current construct slots you have total, how many available, and how many you've lent, and who you've lent them to. If you have any available, you can hit manage, pick one of the orgs you're in, or type in a name of an org and send them to a particular org. Okay? That's the simple part, giving somebody orgs, core slots. Now, if you go into your core, one of your orgs that you have legged over, go to constructs, you will be able to see you have 3 numbers represented here. Okay? You have this number, which is the number of cores you have deployed currently. This number, which is the number of cores that your organization can deploy. And this number, which is the max number of construct slots your org is able to accept from players. Now, I've had people see this bottom number and think that's how many cores they can deploy. That is not what this is. What this is telling you that that is how many core slots you are able to accept from players. This is how many they can give to your org, not how many your org can place. This is the number that tells you how many your org can place. So make sure you keep up with the difference. At least one legate in every org needs to have the skill that brings up the max constructs. If you do not, this number will be next to nothing, or 0, I think, and you cannot accept core slots at all. So one of your legates will have to get this skill at least a few levels up. Okay. So let's go over here to this. We're going to go to mining industry. Architect. So under architect, we have the basic core skills. Static core expertise, dynamic core expertise, these don't apply. Okay? Core unit upgrades is your number of personal cores you can apply. You get +3 per level. You start off with a base of 10. So that means right now I can do 10, 13, 16, 19, 22, and I'm about to be able to do 25. I didn't train this because I'm focused on my org. Okay. And of course those go up from there. You have advanced, and then you have improved. I don't know, something about that seems backwards to me. For me, it seems like it should be core, then improved core, and then advanced core. Drax, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm watching you.
I mean, it just feels like core, then improved core, then advanced core would be the natural order, but it's reversed. I don't know why they did it that way. Okay, that's your personal cores, okay? That's where you get, your private stuff you're allowed to apply. That you're able to launch yourself without needing to be in an org or being part of anything, okay? A lot of people are using those to be able to place cores and then just using RDMS to give different orgs or different people access. So that is one option you have. If you go to Organization Construct Management, which is blocked by my camera, but it's down bottom here, I'll pull it up for you to see. Organization Construct Management. Now, they did something weird here, okay? If you're looking at the screen with those things around your image, this one and this one over here are the ones that give you core slots that you can give to an organization, okay? Now, if you're looking at the menu on the left, let me shrink my camera down. Actually, I'm just going to turn my camera off for a second while we're looking at this, okay? 1 second. Where is my camera? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's turn that off for a second. Okay, now if you look at the left, it's the bottom 3. This one, and this one. Those give you the cores that you can assign or lend to an organization. So if you train this, you will have available cores that you can give to an organization. It starts off with organization construct slot optimization, which gives you 3 organization slots per level. Then you get advanced, which gives you 5 organization slots per level, and improved, which gives you 10. I'm gonna be honest with you, that last level of improved is 5.2 million talent points. Most people are stopping at level 4 on this because that last level takes forever, and it only gives you 10 extra slots. So you go from 90 to 10, and that last level takes more than pretty much the rest of the skills combined. Actually, about the same time, but it takes a long time. So unless you need that last 10, absolutely, I wouldn't bother with it. The other 3 skills in here, which is this one on the bottom right, and the 2 on the top left, or if you look at the left menu, the top 3. These are the ones that increase the number of cores that your org is allowed, core slots your org is allowed to accept from members. This is best legate chosen, so only one legate needs these. The first one gives you 25. So if you train the first one to level 5, that gives you 125 cores your organization is able to accept. Okay? The second one is 75 per level, and the third one is 225 per level. The max you get is 1625. So no organization will be allowed to have more than 1625 orgs. Unless they put in a special request because they have some kind of big fancy thing that's non-profit and integral to the game. But that's a different story. So only one legate in your organization needs to worry about training these top 3 skills. Okay?
I posted a screenshot of the layout of the skills and also a graph charting out how long you have to train to get each number of cores on the main discussion channel.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, guys, so Corzari has posted that. We're going to pin that in the channel. Pin message. Those are now pinned on the discussion channel. It's a graphic layout of it, so it'll help you guys out a lot. But just remember, on these first 3 skills, only one legate in the org needs to train them. So unless you're going to be that legate, don't bother with it. You're going to better serve your org by training the bottom 3 and getting available slots to give to the org. The only reason why I'm going over this is we've had a lot of players that have been training these top 3 thinking it was giving their org core slots and having to put in tickets and get them reset. It's a big pain in the butt. So I hope it helps. If you have any questions, there are tons of people that got it figured out. Hit somebody up. Also, we posted several things in the DU Think Tank Discord. Corzari has posted 2 in discussion. I posted 1 in announcements. Okay. Sorry for the monotone start. I just wanted to go over that stuff. But that's the gist of it. Yeah, baby.
I think it's a good explanation that needs to be done. Honestly, it should be clipped and put on in their Discord or even
Yep.
on your YouTube channel.
Oh. Apparently, okay, so I got a new screen today. And apparently it came with power mode, automatic standby time turned on. It was just about to turn off my monitor. Here we go.
As long as there's no more sleep buttons that your ferret can turn off.
Oh, that's on the keyboard. It's still there.
So, Serpus, I was in a couple of other Discords yesterday and today.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is official or whatever, but the slow motion that people are experiencing.
Oh,
especially
Deckard
with
has
larger
addressed
ships.
that.
Has he? Okay.
Yeah, he
Can you tell
addressed
us
that
what he
in
said?
he addressed that in the official DU Discord. Somebody else posted it. Is anybody here familiar with what he said? Because I did not see it.
Basically, he said that I don't have it in front of me, but basically he said that this is an issue that's persisted for a while. It's been in for quite some time, but it got worse in Panacea. And so they're having some trouble rooting out the root cause, but he expects there'll be something next week.
Essentially, what it looks like is it looks like your ship is going in slow motion.
Yeah.
It says you're going fast, but you're not actually going fast.
Yeah.
And it has something to do with element lag. So for those of us who have flown really, really big ships, once you got over about 400 active elements, now that's wings, engines, anything that actively produces a physics call, you could end up with element lag. And Gotchar created a script that would calculate how much of this element lag you were experiencing and give you sort of a percentage of lag based off of game time and distance traveled versus how much it reported and whatever. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Now, he did discuss it. He said it's something they are working on. I've actually had it happen several times. Abadakis was following me the other night during stream, and my ship said I was doing 1,000 kilometers an hour, and according to his end, I was doing like 300. I think it was. That's not okay. But I was burning the fuel like I was doing 1,000.
Yep, that's element lag.
An important thing to remember there also, I don't see people talking about much, but collision mechanics also are based on your official speed. So at that point, as far as collisions are concerned, you were going 1,000 kilometers an hour. So if you had clipped anything, you would have been toast.
Ooh.
Even though it felt like you were crawling.
You again said I had that today.
Well, I've experienced a couple other weird things. Like I had an elevator that just was going up just fine, and then fell out of the sky. So there's a bunch of weird little things like that. I'm hoping that this gets them to address the element lag issue. Maybe take elements that produce the same force in the same direction and combine the physics calls. Because a lot of times your video cards are reporting more utilization than is actually being utilized, because it's utilizing it. You're saying, oh, you're using 99% of your video card, but you're actually using 99% of the physics processor on your video card, not the actual graphics processor.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people complaining about that too. And oddly enough, I've been seeing more of it with newer cards. Like the 30 series, people have been having issues with more of the 30 series than the 20 series. Of course,
I have a 1070, and it runs at 100% all the time.
Yeah.
And but the weird thing is that my perceived performance isn't much less than people with 2070s or 3070s. And again, I think it has to do with the physics calls.
I'm currently running a 1080 Ti, and I'm running an average of 40 to 50% on my GPU.
Ugh, I wish.
Let's see, what is it running right now? GPU utilization 59%, and I'm at the city.
Yeah, Wolfpack. They are not going to address optimizations in this game until they get closer to having a finalized model of the game. Because they could spend all time. It's called refactoring, so they could spend an enormous amount of time refactoring and parts of the game that they end up then changing, and then they just throw out all that money they spent on refactoring. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, again, if you like all those adjusters you have right there on the front that are all pointing the same direction, they're in the approximate same space.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be able to group those into one physics call.
You think
the
that would be the
adjusters
case?
would be difficult. The wings, though, should be easy.
The wings would be easy. They give us large wings and extra large atmospheric engines. That would fix a lot of the issues.
But I mean,
Well,
even then, like, if you have a bunch of wings that are all pointing in the same direction, that are all oriented the same way, I'm pretty sure their physics should all be equivalent. So I don't know why they don't just bulk it together into one physics check. Like, if
Yeah.
you've got 200 wings aligned in exactly the same way, then why isn't that just one thing? The adjusters are in physically different locations, so their effect on your moment of inertia is going to be different. But the wings, I don't know. That's the case with the wings.
yeah, there is definitely some sort of weird physics going on, or some weird thing that's affecting adjuster firing. Because I don't know if you pay attention to when you're flying, sometimes you'll notice that your adjusters are firing for no reason. They're just sort of like spazzing out, and you can get out of the seat, get back into the seat, and that stops. But again, those are all physics calls, regardless of whether they're doing anything or not.
Yeah. Well, I've been having hell flying this ship, the big ship, which I need this ship to be able to tear down stuff because I've got a lot of stuff that's a lot of weight to tear it down. I'm going between Alioth and Thades and Mattis a lot.
Yeah.
So it's slow boat, I'm not warping, but
Well,
flying
in this,
around and doing it is a nightmare.
well, in this situation, it's slow mo boat.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
You thought about that way too much.
Okay.
Yeah,
wait.
I just tore down 2 Bengals and 2 Horizon XLs and dropped them off for Waka to redeploy, since he's going to have those 2 ships ready to, with the fixes. So
Okay.
pretty soon.
So, Mr. Corazarius,
Yeah.
you discovered an issue with docked cores potentially at markets.
I did, yeah.
Okay, that's something I want to talk about on DUT, because we have 35 people in here, and I want to make sure we kind of get the word spread on that, to be careful with that. Because there's
Sure.
a lot of people that fly around with a small or extra small core ship docked to their bigger ship, and that could screw them. You want to go over what happened with that?
Yeah, so basically I was doing some cruising around today, and I have a small core ship that has a couple of extra small cores attached to it. And I found, as I was cruising around different Ophelia tiles, one of them that I landed on, I looked at one of my extra small ships, and it said 3 days until abandonment. So I'm pretty sure, based on what I've seen, basically, that when you take control of a construct, either by sitting in a seat or remote control or maneuvering it, it resets a timer that the ship has been piloted. When a ship is docked to another ship, there is nothing resetting that timer saying it's been piloted. So as far as the game is concerned, any ship that you have had docked since before Panacea that you haven't maneuvered or flown is considered as having been stationary since then. So I'm pretty sure that unless they do something about this, as of Tuesday, if you fly a ship that has a docked core on it that you have not moved since last Tuesday, it will probably just explode the core and abandon as soon as you enter an Ophelia tile. I'm not positive.
I think it's as soon as you
Ooh.
land.
I'm not sure that's true.
Because I never get the notification until I've actually landed.
You get the notification as soon as you get out of the seat, whether the ship has stopped moving or not.
Yeah.
But if you mouse over the things when you're still in the air, I've got an alt in the ship with me, and when I look at them when I'm still in the air, it still says 3 days till abandonment, even before I've landed.
So as soon as you fly into it, if it hasn't been piloted in 7 days, kablooey.
I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. I'm not 100% positive, and I've already raised this with Deckard directly, and we'll see if anything gets done about that before Tuesday, but Tuesday's a pretty short turnaround when they're not working until Monday.
Yeah.
So
make sure you guys spread the word in stream. If you know anybody that, like, I fly around with the Phantom all the time with that extra small core in it, and there'll be times I'll go a week without touching it. So make sure you guys let your friends know if they have any ships that are docked on their big ship before they go to the market. At least hop in the pilot seat and hop out of it, just to
or even
reset
just
that.
maneuver them.
Something.
It's gonna be shitty for multi-core, especially if it's just a piece that
And if you got a multi-core, don't take it to the market.
Don't take it to Ophelia tiles.
Yeah.
Until we know this has been fixed. Like, if you've got a Titan or whatever, like, just don't.
Yeah, it may or may not be an issue, but it's too big of a risk right now with them showing those timers like that.
Yeah. It will probably stay docked to your ship. but like at that point it's abandoned, so anyone who gets close can just edit it and start ripping it apart.
What time on Tuesday is this going to happen?
I don't know.
It's exactly 7 days from the time of the patch when the
Yeah, I
server
don't know if
restarted.
it's patch time or when they started the patch or when they finished the patch or if they just
When
set
the
it
server
to
started.
the beginning of the day. I'm not 100%
I
sure.
think it's when the server rebooted, when the boot time on the server after the patch.
Yeah, if anybody in chat
That
knows.
seems likely, but I don't know for sure.
Any issues with the Voxel editor? Is it great? Is it? I've been chasing cores and
Yeah.
I have not. I mean, it's sad because I'm so excited about the Voxel editor, but I've been chasing the core problem, and
I've
so
been
I haven't
doing
even
the
had a chance
same
to play
thing.
with it.
Do we have anybody in the stream who's been playing with the Voxel editor a lot that we can pull into chat? Drax, have you been playing with it?
I've been playing with it quite a bit. There's a lot of things that you can learn, like little tricks. Like me and Serapis, we just recently learned about the grid system, and the problem right now I'm seeing it is one of the downsides is the grid that comes up is super handy if you know it's there, and the problem is certain voxels don't show it. Like it might
Gotcha.
be on the voxel, but it's so dark it's hard to see.
Well,
But it's super handy when you actually get to see the damn the grid, and it can help you out because if like a lot of people when they start they're doing it like one notch by one notch, and then trying to match those notches up. But the grid allows you to scroll through and set those notch points.
yeah, that's why
That
Captain
allows
Phillip
you
does
to
all
get
of his.
specific. Mm-hmm.
Captain Phillip uses black matte plastic because it doesn't matter whether it's day or night. You can see the grid on the voxels. But
Yeah, it should be
Serapis,
visible in all of them now.
Some
you
voxel it just does show up. Go ahead. What's up?
Serapis, can you throw down a couple of voxels and show people the grid and how to cycle and change the size of the grid and all that?
Yeah, let me get over here to an area that's got some lighting. Am I still connected to the... Okay, yeah. Any lights in here I can place? No,
So I
but
found that it works great, especially when you have an element. Say you have an element and you place it on your construct, and you got that little shimmer where the element and the voxels the same exact level, and you got that little flicker going back and forth where you're seeing voxel then element, voxel element. You can actually look at it and just pull that voxel out just by that little hair, just enough that it covers your element completely.
Now, is it true now that we have more than 8 vertices per voxel?
My God, yeah, the amount of vertices that are inside of a voxel is ridiculous. Like you bring it down to its very smallest point. Yeah,
No,
there's
it's
like 126 points you can move around inside.
no. There's still only 8 points though. But the range in which you can move them is 254 points
Right.
wide, I believe.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
just it doesn't allow you to like add extra vertices and
No.
No.
okay.
Sorry, misunderstood the question. My bad.
Yeah, all good.
DJ Slicer's like, no. How's that
Just got an
Nautilus
ass
6
kicking
going?
by. Just got an ass kicking by Core.
How's that Nautilus
Sorry,
6 going
sorry.
there, Drax?
okay, so how is it you turn on the grid again? X?
X. Yep. After you select the voxel, like you got to go into the
So how
vertex
do you
that
select the voxel?
Left click or enter?
Just click or enter. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then you hit X when you're in there.
See, I'm not seeing it.
Yep,
It doesn't show
certain-
up for grid step 1 or 2. You have to go up to at least 4 before it shows up.
Yep.
And so you hold X and then you use the scroll key to adjust the grid size?
Yep.
Is that right?
No,
I think
you-
it's
is it
Alt
control?
Yeah.
Alt and
Yeah.
scroll?
Control scroll.
Control scroll. Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
And
now if you hit
some
X-
some
yeah, there you
voxel
go.
it's harder to see. Some is easy to see. Like for instance, on black aluminum, polished black aluminum,
There
you
we
can
go.
see
Can
it,
y'all see
but it's
that?
very faint. And
Can y'all
then,
see that grid?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so each one of those represents a step when you're doing your left mouse.
Mhm.
And each one of those represents 4 steps if you hold control into your mouse.
That's the arrow key, not the mouse, right? Can you
Ah,
control
but
Oh,
that-
arrow key, yeah.
What do you mean the menu?
Yeah, I'm curious too.
It says the menu is worth something until you
Right
learn
there.
it.
You hit Control H and that pops up. It tells you all the commands.
Oh, nifty,
Oh, nice.
nifty.
Nice.
I turned that thing off so long ago, but I might have to return it back on. Control H.
Yeah, Control H.
oh my god, I didn't even know. I turned that off like when I first started because it was in my way.
Yeah, and you can go
I
down.
completely forgot about it.
So, step 4, you can see. Now, what the grid will allow you to do is if you are trying to be extremely precise. So, let's just say we want to go. Okay, so if I go back there, I know that's a perfect grid. Okay. Now, if I want to take this down to halfway, I can take that down to halfway. Take that down to halfway. Double that in length. So now it's, basically 0.5 by 1.5. So if you're one of those people that like to get really precise, you can. Now, the advantage to the grid is I can now take this. There we go.
Yay, I no longer need a wedge.
Yeah, wedges are. This is something that will make wedges semi-obsolete. However, this will not replace your voxel libraries, so keep that in mind. There are a lot of voxel library crap that trying to remake using this method would take you ages. If it's already in a voxel library, don't reinvent the wheel. Use it. It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yeah,
why
but there
spend extra
also is
time
a
working on it?
there's also a whole lot of things in the voxel libraries that are just crappy. Like they look good until you see how they were made, and they were made so imprecisely that they cause more problems. So
Yeah, you can always look at your kits and use the tool on them to make sure
Yeah,
clean them up
that's
a
what
little
I'm
bit, and fully expect people in time to be bringing out updated voxel kits where and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before people start talking about those kits that are do have issues, and it becomes common knowledge that you need to upgrade those kits. I'm sure people will talk in time, be like, yeah, that kit's broken, you got to get it fixed. But until that comes out, or until you see it for yourself, don't reinvent the wheel, like Therapist said. Just use what you got for now.
Okay, so that was okay. So this right here is the point I was making earlier. So I can take this up here, grab this. Bring that there. Bring that there.
just a warning to fellow Novians: if you have dynamic constructs parked on space stations that are directly above Ophelia tiles, make sure you double check if they have an abandonment timer on them. The dynamic cores parked on Grix's station above Market 6 were affected by the 7-day timer, even though the station is well over 100K above the market.
Oh, that's another good piece of information. Okay, so for those of you wondering what the grid usage
Industrialist.
was, that's what basically where you're coming in at it. Okay. It allows you to line up voxels with each other without having to do guesswork. You can do weird crap like that. Okay.
You could do really cool fonts now. Like, easily.
The only thing I don't like about the vertex editor is it's really difficult to do round shapes with it. Whereas,
As
Yeah.
Torden says, the circle is a lie.
I know that technically the circle is a lie. You can look at the circle and see that it is a lie. Unless you're doing like some kind of behemoth monstrous circle, it's very obvious that that is not a circle. However, trying to create a round shape using the vertex editor is going to be a severe pain in the butt. It's going to take a lot of editing.
One thing with it that
Yeah.
I see a lot of people confused about is the home versus alt home and what that does. Maybe we should touch on that while we're talking about it.
Okay, so maybe somebody else can. Okay, it's alt home. Okay, there we go. I know what does home do again? I can't remember what home does.
So home resets it to where it was before you started editing it. So if you take, it'd be better if you click on your wonky shape there.
Okay.
Pick one of the edges on that guy. And then basically if you start to move it around, then you can press home and it will go back to where it was. Or actually, if you just hit it right now, if you hit it, it goes back to where it actually is currently.
Yeah.
Alt
And
home takes it back to the center of its usual
to
location.
default, like base standardized. This is a square default.
Yeah. And by default, when you first click it, it goes to wherever you last edited a vertex to be. So if you're doing a line of vertices all exactly the same, you can literally just double click them and it will move them all in exactly the same way.
Yep. Now I have noticed some issues with that. When you're, let me see. Here, I can do this right here. This will be a lot easier to do. Okay, so let's take that one. Ooh. Okay, so those two snap easily, no problem, right?
Yep.
Oh. Now, if you start getting a wee bit crazy, like say you want to really kind of expand and make a flat shape, okay? It can sometimes, when it's trying to follow, it can kind of screw up. Which I don't know why. But yeah, it's a wee bit irritating.
Well, you can have vertices that like overlap in ways that they're not
Yeah.
supposed to be able to.
So yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. You have to be careful about it. If you push it too far, it's going to do weird things, and it's not always necessarily the fault of the thing. It's just you got to remember you're working with a. This isn't Blender. This isn't a 3D program, so you're going to have issues where sometimes things just don't want to do what you want them to do. Hey, look, I made a round shape. It's curved on top and pointy on bottom.
Did a thing.
I did bang bang.
Did a thing.
But yeah, so have you guys been experiencing anything weird? I should say.
Every time I hang out with you.
What kind of weird are you talking about?
With the way that the oh, that was weird.
You just did, apparently.
Yeah, with the way that the update's been handling with ships and things like that. Has anybody been experiencing anything awkward other than just the core count thing going on? So
Some of the visual bugs and glitches with building and stuff like that, going in and out of build
Yeah.
mode, crashing you out. The things not. It seems like there's just off bugs going on in the game right now.
Lots of those, what is it, unexpected whatever errors where it crashes you out.
yeah, I've been crashing a lot. But
Unhandled exemptions.
so yeah, Big Ginger was talking about. He posted a ticket earlier today where when he's building, everything will just go randomly black, and it's really screwy. And then there's a lot of people that have been saying, like, there's also the issue now with the using a container when you're in VR that you have to leave that area for the container to work. You can't be right next to the container that you're linked to. So I mean, there's been
That's been
a
bugged
lot
for a while
of
now.
yeah, but there's been a lot of um just regular gameplay issues that are making it rather difficult to do things. I mean, right now we're dealing with the very horrible element lag. We're dealing with server disconnects. We're dealing with invalid cell versions. We're dealing with
How about me being able to transfer stuff in a link container 133 SU away?
yeah, that shouldn't be happening, but it's and then we
How
got
do I get that bug?
yeah, we're also dealing with the blackouts when building. Right now the game is really acting dodgy. And it's not good. And I'm really hoping while the Vertice editor is nice, it's really awesome, and I'm grateful they brought it to the game. I'm concerned that there's going to be a lot of players getting really frustrated with the inability to do a lot of the basic things you want to do in the game right now. And from what I understand, there's also been people finding exploits and things too because of this. I won't go into those because I don't want to detail them on the stream because that's kind of dumb. But there's been multiple exploits that have been getting found too, so it's kind of
I guess that's really a good thing though if they get found.
it depends on who finds them.
That's true. I guess you're right.
I'm sure there's things that have been found that are by people that don't want it to go away, and they keep that shit hush hush. That happens a lot.
That's true.
And there's a whole player culture out there that it's kind of like honor among thieves. If you find a bug, share it with your friends and keep your mouth shut.
I am happy to say that every single duping exploit that I've turned in has gotten fixed within a week of me turning it in. So, guys, if you're sitting on something you want this game to succeed, definitely you can message Deckard, NQ Deckard, through Discord directly. Give him the steps to repeat it, so he can duplicate it, and you'll watch. It'll get fixed like super fast.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read through the patch notes, there was a dupe exploit that I found that was fixed. I think the last patch or the patch before that, and it got fixed within 4 days of me reporting it.
Yeah, duping is something they're really hardcore about, especially since a lot of the issues that came up from the early game in beta that were caused by duping. So they're really aggressive about that stuff. I'm starting to think Mexican food before a Dutch stream was not a good idea. Ooh.
Why would that ever be a good idea before a stream?
Do you have any tequila?
It's only gonna end one of two ways.
If you drink tequila, it'll solve all the problems, or you won't care.
Well, right now it's just heartburn. So it's like I am drinking a Mexican Coke though. Da-da-da-da. I love Mexican Cokes. They're 1 liter bottles. They actually are good. They satisfy me, not like these little 20-ounce bottles we have in the States.
All right, so I'm gonna bring it up on every single DUT until they fix it. I want them to remove the stupid light poles off of all of the market platforms.
Deckard, can you hear that, brother? Please get rid of the light poles.
God bless, get rid of the light poles. Just delete them off. They don't need to be there. They don't serve a purpose except for to snag your ship and make you blow up.
Hey, that's
So,
exactly what they're meant.
One of the
for.
other things that were brought up today that we want to talk about tonight, and we want to make sure we touch this topic, is the blueprints for static cores. Actually, blueprints for dynamic cores too. Blueprints for static and space cores mainly. If I place a static core, like, let's see, I think I have some in here. If I place a core, it lines up with this grid right here. I can easily adjust it and move it to line it up with the grid. And it's lined up with this grid now. However, if I place a blueprint for the same static large core, I can't line it up. It's irritating as crap.
Well, you can. Okay, let's say you were just trying to pave a whole big area, right? And you had 20 blueprints and enough materials in your link container for those 20 blueprints. After you place the blueprint, if you use your arrow keys, you can place the very next blueprint in perfect alignment, and pave.
Yeah, but that's only if you're doing a large area at one time. Like with the city here, if we want to add a blueprint for a building or blueprint another building and move it here, trying to line it up is not going to happen.
The projector, if they would just give us a projector style visualization instead of the blue box.
Yeah, there's two things that needs to happen. We need to get the projector style visualization showing us what we're deploying and allow that static blueprint to snap to the existing terrain like this, as the core would do normally.
Well, there's 3, and also make it so that when you're moving the blueprint with your arrow keys, it moves 1 voxel at a time instead of 2.
Drek, Smallville says check your DM in Discord.
Okay.
So yeah, it's frustrating, but it's very frustrating. It's irritating as hell, is what it is, because it makes doing projects as a community a lot more awkward. It also makes people like Loaded. Loaded sells some amazing blueprints for his buildings, and unless you're placing a new base, it's buying the blueprints is very difficult to do. Because, like here, I had bought several of his blueprints. I spent 60 mil on Loaded's blueprints, I think. 50 or 60 mil on blueprints for buildings that I wanted to place around the city. Can't place them. They don't line up with the grid. They don't work. It looks horrible. And for right now, I'm just sitting on the blueprints.
Well, if you go into DU creators, he has an alignment, a way to align things.
Yeah, but it's not perfect.
But even then, it's dodgy because you can't visualize what's going on.
So in DU creators, there's also a tool that somebody created and did a YouTube video
Emeralda or however.
Yeah, but it's still not perfect, and it's tedious.
I spent 2 hours trying to get my two space station BPs to line up, and I was 1 voxel off in each direction.
Makes you mad. And then you have to tear it down. Oh my God, NQ, please give us a disassemble command that gives us the blueprint back and all the materials, please.
Even just an undo when you deploy it would be a step. Like a basic, if you can't give us a projection of it, let it deploy and then have an option to undo it immediately. So we can see it go up and be like, nope, that wasn't right. Undo.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get a timer, like you can pick it back up within say like 30 seconds or so, that should be more than enough to be able to see if it's
that would be nice, but
aligned
still,
properly.
all that would be fixed if they just allowed the static blueprints to snap to the grid like the cores do. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I know NQ is working on big feature items for this game, and they really feel like they need, that they need to build out, press worthy features in this game. But here's the problem: when your average Joe Schmo gets in this game and they start trying to do some basic things like put up a building from a blueprint, and they ask veterans like, "Hey, how do I do this so that I don't screw it up?" And we say, yeah, just pray, because there's no other way. And if you screw it up, you have to spend forever tearing it down and you lose the blueprint. I mean, that's a negative gaming experience that you don't want to put on a new player, and you
Yeah.
really don't want your vets communicating to new players that the game is that
Criteria, yes, I
poorly
know
thought out.
NQ staff will align the buildings for you. However, we already know that they're an issue with financials and things like that. That they have to manage their time appropriately. And as something as simple as having those blueprints snapped to the cores would save that need for staff to be doing that. They could be focused on other things that are, not fixable via basic game mechanic.
I guess the term would be we're trying to streamline the
Yeah.
effect of the gameplay to free up those devs that normally have to do that, so they can go on to other tasks and they don't have to, allocate X amount of time every day to help dozens of people line up a blueprint.
And I know
There's
they're on a
already-
deadline right now. I know they're on deadlines, but at the same time, there's some basic function gameplay items that if they fixed them, it would help alleviate a lot of stress on players and keep a lot of players in the game.
Well, we know that there's an open source tool that somebody wrote that will extract a game ship model out of the game and turn it into an OBJ file, which means that the information is there to create a projector style visualization of any object in the game.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that if all of that information is there, if we're talking about dedicating a programmer's time for a week to build out this functionality, the amount of heartache that it would save in the community would be worth that programmer's week.
Knowing now that there is a way, I didn't realize that there is a way for them to actually manually fix this. Hearing that is the thing that exists, I actually do question now how much it makes sense for them to bother fixing this. I mean, long term, that sounds great, but like honestly, as a developer, like even changes that seem really simple are often extraordinarily complicated, and even changes that are actually really simple still often require hours or days of dev effort and hours or days of QA effort, and then there's like you got to get it integrated and everything.
The system's already in the game
to a degree, but not for blueprints.
No,
and
for
like,
blueprints. If you place a dynamic core blueprint, the blueprint snaps to the static core that you're placing it on.
Oh, does it?
Yes. Okay. So it's for some reason it's turned on dynamics, but it's not turned on statics.
So that probably is a pretty basic change then, but also like the people who are doing the support are not the people who would be doing the development, and to be blunt, they probably get paid a lot less. So
here's the thing. By the way, guys, here's how to jerry rig this. And I'm sorry if that's an offensive term. I have no idea. I'm old. Anyway.
Now look, hold on. If you see it snaps, it lines up. So if I had a grid on the ground, I could very easily line that up. And it would snap to the grid.
But you can't do that with statics?
No. If you just...
no, it turns funny angles. It's to get it to line up, you're talking hours unless you're just really good at it. And multiple degree changes, flashlight out.
Ugh.
It's pretty easy to get it lined up with a dynamic if you really want to line it up.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. Was it resource?
Yeah, I was just saying. I've seen people who have thrown. I think what is it? They throw down a dynamic, and then align the blueprint to the dynamic in order to try to get it lined up. I mean, again, this is like a whole bunch of jumping through hoops when these are base mechanics in a game that should be addressed, as well as us being able to just disassemble without having to tear apart something piece by piece. That's not fun gameplay. That's not a game. That's annoying.
Yeah, that is rather irritating to say the least.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like, this is a building game, right? But when you have to tear something down that just didn't deploy right, it feels like a punishment, and I don't like to be punished. Not in a game that I'm paying to play.
That's another one of those creature comfort things that could be added is the right-click disassemble.
I mean, pretty big ergonomic comfort too. Instead of sitting there clipping out
Yeah.
voxels, windows.
Think about this. If you could manage if they would like next week release a thing that allowed you to deconstruct something, it would give you a blueprint, a one-use blueprint, and all the material back. People could manage their core accounts effectively, and they could say, okay, well, I'm going to just back off everything till a manageable core account, and then deploy my stuff again later on.
Yeah.
As I get more cores.
That would actually make it a lot easier for people to make those decisions, and make people a lot more willing to cut those cores down until the slots come in. Especially, even with ships. I mean, that would be a compactification fix. You wouldn't have to compact the ship. Just, if it gave you that one-time use blueprint, a blueprint copy, basically, you could, right-click on it, disassemble. It would disassemble it and give you the one blueprint copy for it and put it all in a container together.
I mean, it's sad, but like part of my decision on whether I rip apart a ship or not is, hey, can I go to the person who created this ship and get another blueprint? Will they just be like, here you go, resource, here's another blueprint? And and that means that a lot of Serapis' ships have gotten torn down.
I think we just watched a ginger crash in the background.
Yeah.
Content.
It's like all of a sudden I see his ship spinning upside down in the background, flying into the city.
I mean, even like on cores, if I would be almost happy on just some random cores, if I could just right click and just pick it up regardless of whether there's anything on it and just destroy whatever's on the core. I could care less.
Yeah.
I've had cores get stuck where it's got micro voxels on it, or I got voxels underground, and I just don't want to be bothered, so I just abandon it.
Oh, the nice thing about the abandoned cores, they disappear after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, but if I could
that's good now.
If I could just right click it and just say screw the voxels that are on the core, just destroy them. I don't care. Just pick it up, regardless of whatever's there. Just give me my core back. I'd be happy with that.
I would like it so that if a tile is abandoned and nobody owns it, a timer occurs on that tile, and 7 days later it has a geometry reset, so it goes back to clean and beautiful again.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because I mean, that would be good for speed of the game.
Actually, thinking about what we've been saying though, if there's a few features right now that would take very little work, I think that if they did these features, it would greatly reduce the bandwidth users of the server. One, like you said, being able to disassemble a ship or construct and getting a blueprint copy for it. It's a one-time use blueprint. That would make people more willing to do it. Second of all, give us extra large atmospheric engines and large wings.
And brakes. I would really like to see brakes and adjusters.
They wouldn't even need to do extra large if they just gave us like uncommon brakes.
Yeah, if they gave us tiered brakes and adjusters and
a
things.
System?
Yeah, like they
It
do
would
with the
It
engines.
would be a solution,
Yeah, and it would also add
and
more
they could balance
industry.
them out.
Yeah.
Make it balanced. If it just give them to
Well-
them is good enough. With
Yeah.
if they have to say, okay, well they're heavier and they do this, or
Here's the thing.
something like
Look
that,
at the
then
back.
that's perfectly fine.
Look at the back of this ship that Serapis
Stupid.
is staring at.
Yeah.
The number of engines that are on this ship is ridiculous. And it's ridiculous because there's not enough lift in the wings,
92 engines.
right? The only reason that you need, I've built big ass ships like this. The only reason you need that many engines is because the wings are so poorly underpowered, and he's having to use large stabilizers, and even then they're so gigantic
And
that
heavy and cause a lot of drag.
Yep. So
Yeah.
the thing is that if they would just they need to fix the wing problem, because the engine issue, Decker was like, hey, if we're toying around with making engines more powerful, blah 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 blah. We don't need more. We really honestly don't need more powerful engines. If you're going to do something like that, make the engines 40% smaller and give us
Honestly,
wings that work.
I think if
No,
they
man,
just
more
gave us an
engines.
extra large atmospheric engine,
Yeah.
just give us that one more tier size up of engine like we already have for space, and give us large wings. Those
It
two
feels-
things alone would cut a lot of element count.
I mean,
I
you
was
could.
It feels
suggesting-
just silly that you need 90 atmospheric engines when you have 8 space engines.
Yeah.
I was
I mean, you could
suggesting
take-
a vertical, some type of lifting element instead of a wing or something like that. An element that just gives you lift. You can
Well-
name it whatever you want, but
Yeah, but that's adding an
It's-
entire new mechanic to the game, though.
Well, from an
but
asset,
it's just the same thing as a wing, except it doesn't have.
if they want an easy way of doing it from an assets perspective, just take the XL space engines and just remove the 3 pucks on the back of it. Add 4 pucks instead of 3, and just change the color on the sprite output on it to blue, and you've got an XL atmospheric engine. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Minimal.
They're
coding
not
involved.
they're not going to phone it in like that. That NQ is never
Yeah.
shortcutted like that. But
They're going to take this design here for the large engine, and they're going to blow it up, make it longer, and make it bigger and heavier. That's what they're going to do. They're going to keep it in the design scheme of the current existing atmospheric engines.
Well, if you look at the XL space engine, it really don't match the design from the regular space engines.
It
They
does
look
to a
different.
degree. The tips are actually the exact same tips from the large engines.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's just 3
Yeah.
with a shroud.
But I mean, keeping it simple, and let's keep this in mind. We have to keep it simple. The brakes, the adjusters. If they gave us an extra large version of those for these really huge ships like this, and they gave us an extra large engine and just a large wing that was actually designed for a lift and not to be used like a stabilizer, those things would cut a lot of element count and lag in the server. Because, I mean, if I had extra large atmospheric engines here, I could probably put 16 engines here, maybe 10, instead of 92.
see, I would almost kind of like to see something that's even in between, like an XL and a large.
Yeah, but that's asking you. I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking for simple, and simple is just on the flight elements. Add one more tier up.
Yep.
One more tier up on wings, one more tier up on brakes and adjusters, and one more tier up on atmospheric engines. If they did that for these large core ships, it would allow us to reduce the number of items on those ships drastically. This ship alone, if they did that, I could cut right now probably 400 items off of this ship if I had one more size up of items.
And that would cut down your element count just massively.
It would
like
cut
you're
it in
saying.
half. It would go from 8 something to 400.
And with the
Which-
recent changes in the hitboxes and stacking elements coming and being taken out, the issue where people are just loading, stacking those massive elements on there, making OP ships, those days are coming to an end. If they get blocked, they're shutting down, so people aren't just going to be able to stack higher end wings and stuff together. If they did
Yeah.
add them.
Now this ship right here, even since the last update, I had to go through, and there were a lot of things in this I had to adjust there were minor things that were touching and would have been blocked later. So this version of the ship is fully ready for patch whenever they deploy it, as far as current settings go. And yes, this is a modified Eclipse, if anybody's watching. We're calling this the Serapis Special of the Eclipse. Okay? But, yeah, if I could get just one more tier up of those basic structures designed for extremely large ships. Let's see, hold on. Let me look at this. Okay. So, elements. 867 elements. I have 222 atmospheric break larges, which now they're showing blocked for some reason. They're showing inner. Okay. I have 222 atmospheric break larges. I have 142 retro rocket break larges, which I actually had more than that. I took some off. I have 114 adjuster larges. Oh, 88 uncommon military atmospheric larges. So I got 88 uncommon atmospheric military larges on here. Atmo. I mean, adjusters, if we got extra larges, I could probably cut that by 90. Brakes, I could cut the brakes between the two of them by probably 300. So we're looking at basically 400 items there. Another 78 engines gone. So we're at almost 500 things gone. If they gave us one more tier up, that's 500 items on the ship. That would bring this ship down to under 400, almost 300. Yeah, 370, 380, 380 items on this ship instead of 867. So that would actually benefit them as far as the server goes, as well as the players as far as performance goes.
Now, do you think there'd be anybody who would use the new elements and still keep that high element count to get the higher, weight out of Alioth?
I mean, I assume it's still going to happen, but
yeah, but
it's also going to be limited by other factors like space and whatnot, right? Like,
yeah, if they're a good size larger and they're also a good amount that they have a weight to them, you're going to get to a point of diminishing return based on weight and fuel usage. Because can you imagine the extra large atmospherics, how much fuel they're going to use?
Serapis people want you to drink water.
I have Coke tonight.
Being a person who used rare military space XL engines, they almost need a fuel hub because those engines burn too much fuel.
So
I'd love a fuel hub.
You would really get to a point of
Extra
diminishing
large fuel
return
tanks.
really quickly on those. And one person the other day said they think that adjusters should use fuel. You should have a fuel for adjusters because they do emit, That would actually be another use for all that hydrogen crap or oxygen crap we have floating around. Hydrogen. Have hydrogen tanks for the adjusters,
cool. If they give us XL Atmo engines, they require both a large tank and a hydrogen tank in order to be fueled. That would be the trade-off.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. It requires a mix fuel.
But I mean, look at all these brakes that are underneath here. Each two of those dots is a brake. Those are all brakes. These are all brakes. The top looks the same.
Seriously, I wouldn't. It would not hurt my feelings as a ship designer if they would just reduce all of the element sizes by 40%.
No, I think the element sizes for gameplay purposes are good where they are, but I think if they had the next tier up, it would allow you to a lot more flexibility in it. You wouldn't need all these.
Yeah, having a tier up lets you reduce your element count, which reduces server load, it reduces storage space, it reduces your element count. Like there's a lot less to load in order to do the same thing. Like it just seems universally like a good idea. I don't know what the argument is.
There's of course going to be those people who are going to abuse it, but the majority of the players in the game, I feel as though they build things for purpose.
I
And-
think though with the larger things, like I said, you're going to get to a diminishing return real quick. So trying to just cram
Pretty
a
heavy
ship
fuel
full
tank.
of all these massive engines and wings and adjusters and brakes, that thing's going to weigh so much flipping. I mean, it's going to be just like trying to fly around a bag of bricks.
Mhm.
You know, you're going to go through so much fuel trying to even get it off the ground
Mhm.
that diminishing return on stacking more elements in there is going to hit real quick and really hard.
Yeah, like I'm sure people will build ships that big, but the thing is, you need to have a reason to have a ship that big, otherwise you're just wasting fuel.
Yeah. So it's going to be one of those things, is it worth the money to do it? Because this thing right here cost me a fortune to fuel up as it is. I would hate to see what happened if I were to have that whole rear end stacked with extra large atmospheric engines. I mean, could you imagine what that would do fuel wise? Oh my
Yeah.
God, that would just gut me.
If they do extra large Atmo engines, we're gonna have extra large fuel tanks.
Why you don't have extra large space fuel tanks? You have the same size space fuel tank.
I know. I wish we did.
No, I
Just
include
be
that.
running one large tank for each thing, right?
I think include extra
One
large
tank per
fuel
engine.
tanks. That would be, if you do extra large fuel tanks, that again would cut your element count. Instead of having 1-to-1 on your engines, you could have 4 extra large engines to 1 fuel tank.
But legit,
It'll also help
I can't
balance
tell
that
you
out a
how
little bit
many.
more too.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many shipbuilders overcompensate with engine power because they don't have enough lift
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
with the wings.
Well, the problem with the large core ships is getting enough lift with wings or stabilizers. Your element count starts going so high that it's actually sometimes easier to overcompensate with power. Because
Yeah,
like,
but then they fall. Then you put a load in them and they fall out of the sky when you hit about 500.
yeah, well, like this
kilometers
ship.
per hour.
This ship is These things right here are stacked with stabilizers. Hold on, let me go up in here. Those are large stabilizers running the entire height of those back pods. Okay.
I would love to see a poll in Discord if we could of a few elements that we would like to prioritize. If I mean, they don't have to give us jack shit. You know,
Right.
this is just a player poll to see what we would like to see in the game come up
That's a
and
good
see what
call,
people
actually.
say.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
basically, you know, don't vote on all of them, but give us so we can actually see, you know,
Can one of our
what
mods
people
set that
wanna
up
see.
on the announcements channel?
Why is a fuel hub not a thing? Just out of
Right,
curiosity.
like that's one of the things that would be on the list.
Well,
Fuel hub.
I
You know,
think
we'll be able to see.
I think if we did the extra large fuel tanks, that would be a twofold benefit. First of all, you wouldn't need the fuel hubs. Second of
Well-
all, it would reduce item counts on ships even further.
See, I just want a
Mhm.
fuel hub just for balancing reasons, mostly.
Well, also, a fuel hub would be nice because then it would help with the design of the ship. You wouldn't have to worry.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of tuck the tanks away. You can
Yeah,
maybe.
he's got it exactly right. The reason for the fuel hub is not to balance out fuel consumption across tanks. It's so that you can reposition the center
fuel
of
hub.
mass of the weight of those fuel tanks wherever you need to in the ship, just like you do with the containers.
Yeah.
And that would allow you to be able to place the fuel tanks where it makes sense instead of trying to balance the weight and the center of mass of the ship.
Yeah. I can see that. So I think if the two things that we're pulling from this is fuel hubs would be nice, but also if all the elements that are required for a ship for flight, fuel tanks, atmospheric engines, wings, adjusters, wings, adjusters, brakes. If they got that one more tier up,
With wings, please, I want large and extra large wings. Please, please, please.
I'd be fine with instead of large and extra large wings. Just give me uncommon
We only have medium wings.
and uncommon wings. You know, I don't need
Well, no.
rare or exotic. Just give
Yeah, but if
me,
we start adding
uncommon.
in tiers, it's going to add in a lot more schematics and a lot more content they have to add to the game. If we just add that one additional size, it's
Yeah.
one schematic, one model, one item.
And
yeah,
then
but I'm
they,
just
then if they
wondering
want to be
if it's just a coding change rather than, have to make a whole new model change. I'm trying to determine which would be easier for them to make
well, if
a
they
whole new model, or would it just be taking existing ones and
Well,
changing the colors?
something as simple as an element like a wing or a brake and things like that, those models, I mean, honestly, they don't take long. You're looking at, 30 minutes max
and
to
the thing
knock
is,
out a wing model.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure they've already got the models. They just don't have them implemented right now.
Or they're
There
roughed
are
out at least.
there are actually
Yeah.
quite a few elements in the game that aren't in the game. I remember seeing the wiki when I first started playing, and there's like cloaking engines, cloaking generators, and everything else that's in the element list that simply aren't in the game, like fuel pipes or liquid pipes and stuff like that, gas pipes. So they did intend eventually to enable fuel and such to actually have a physical pipe needed to fuel to your engines. And I understand why they did not add that. That's a lot of extra mechanics that
I
would
mean,
cause issues.
technically speaking, we have extra small, small, medium, and medium variant variant wings.
I got another question. Why do we have such the massive leader jump between medium and large fuel tanks?
Uh,
It's almost like the larges are extra large tanks, and they forgot to add a large tank in the game.
I mean, why
military
not?
couches.
Awesome.
If nothing else, why not just rebalance the fuel tanks out to spread the literage around a little bit? I mean, where
That's
like
true too.
the
Rebalancing
excess
the
tanks,
would work.
the excess tanks fall in where the smalls are, and then the mediums fall where, like halfway in between the large, and the large get like tripled or
And then
something
it's
like
no
that.
game, no models. It's just a tick in the back end.
Yeah, it's all you have to do is just change a number, and that's it.
I mean, if you notice, a lot of these, like especially like the space brakes, literally all they did was blow up the smaller model.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, if they changed the leader size of the current system, it's little dev work. It would still kind of be a bonus and not so much money spent to do it.
Yeah, just
They would
take the
change the
current,
back end.
just take the current fuel tanks and change the liter value on the tank. So like say for instance like the excess goes to 1200 liters, and like small say it goes to like 6400 liters, and like medium goes to 1200 liters, and then large goes to like 50,000 liters or something like that.
Well, the
Those are
medium's
just
already
arbitrary numbers.
3,200 liters, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Corazarius, I'm not adding extra large military couches. Hey, speaking as a big man, I would be very appreciative.
Doesn't have to be military. We can have bigger couches.
Because that would actually give you just a flat across the board, no development cost at all. All you're doing is just changing a model number. I mean, changing a number in the database, and that's it. No
Honestly,
models, nothing.
Therapist is the only one that's recommending extra large rocket engines.
No. Let's be honest. Let's be
No.
honest about what's really needed.
Honestly,
We need-
if they took this right here, okay, so we have an extra small wing, we have a small wing, we have a medium wing, we have a medium wing variant. If they took the medium wing variant model, tripled it in size, and called it a large wing, it'd be perfect.
See, I like the sloped wing. I like the sloped wing better.
The irregular medium wing?
Yeah.
What about rare extra large freight toilets?
No.
We need
Lord.
On bonsai trees.
You guys do realize we only have 30 minutes left in the stream,
Yeah,
right?
kind of getting off topic here. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot of stuff tonight. We've covered core changes. We've covered issues with the current game mechanics, things that are going on with problems we're having with players in game. I mean, we've also covered the one issue Corsaria has found with the timers not being right when you fly into an affiliate tile with an existing core ship that's on yours or dock that you haven't been in. The timer still counts down to since the last time you sat in it. So there's a lot of things we covered tonight. I think if they're trying to reduce element counts and trying to reduce lag in the server, I think the logical next step would be to give us that next tier up of elements. And I think it would require some balance as far as numbers go, especially for fuel tanks. Like, we have the expanded extra large containers. Yes, they hold as much as 4 large containers, but they weigh as much as 6 large containers. So it reduces your element count, but you have a diminishing return because you're adding 50% more weight above just having the 4 large containers. And there would have to be things implemented with other structures, atmospheric engines, wings, stabilizers, wings, adjusters, brakes, all those things. There would have to be a balance of cost versus reward in adding in those larger things. I think the containers are a good example of that. So if you had extra large atmospheric engines and you went with their, they give you the power of 6 larges, but they weigh as much as 8 or 10 larges, or they use the fuel of 8 or 10. What, Linear?
I think when the system was originally developed, I think they were fully intending on actually limiting this stuff with power grid and CPU, and it's just a system that never got balanced.
Yeah.
Or never got put in.
I think this would be an easier way for them to limit it now without having to add that in yet. And also, it would be something that would allow us to be better prepared when they do add it.
Like always put an element limiter on each core size.
I mean, even if it was set like crazy high, like 5,000 on a large core, I mean, you could actually do that as long as you gave us the resources, or even 1,000 or 1,200, 1,500. I don't know. I would be okay with that if they gave us the XL element so we could cut our element count down.
I think what they're afraid of, if they did something like that, what would happen to them is if they did that, the ships that are out there right now, people would literally just build ships and just have massive stacks of elements all over the damn ship. And they would basically have the same problem they have now, but even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're afraid of. And
yeah,
but balancing is what's going to take the hardest amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You would have to have that balance of cost versus reward, to where it would have to be a quickly diminishing return, to where you would get to the point to where stacking 50 extra large atmospheric engines on there would be a just complete waste of your money and time.
I'd be okay with nuking the whole, when they add them in there, make it like, some people would be like, that's really shitty, but then adjusting it as needed, because like they say, it's a lot easier to give than take away. Make them really costly, make them heavy or whatever like that, and then they can fine tune it down, decrease weight, or increase how much they do, and just fine tune it down to maybe they might need to add a limiter.
Look at the XL space engines though. I mean, they're not super abused.
No, they're actually not.
Because they're so big.
I think they would be the exact same thing on XL Atmo engines. They would balance themselves.
They're large, so they're bigger, so they'd balance themselves.
I think with the current way the game is running, if they did this, a lot of players would automatically reduce the size of their ships, or not necessarily reduce the size, but would reduce the element counts of their ships just to make the ships fly better and the game perform better. Because as it is right now, yeah, you could have this wall of engines, but every time I take this thing anywhere near a base, I am screwed. I'm flying at 200 kilometers an hour, praying to God I don't hit something, because my ship's saying I'm flying at 1,000, and I'm going to go boom in a bad way if I do.
Mm-hmm.
And God help me if I have to hit the brakes.
I think it'd be a very quick fix as far as trying to eliminate the maximum element count issue.
The first step
compared to
the first step I would do is actually just go back, look at all the existing elements in the game, and just tweak all the numbers and do a balance pass. Because I mean, realistically, the game has never really had a balance pass. And just take the existing elements we got, tweak those and then see if we still need additional elements after you go through and rebalance all the existing modules.
I think if adjusters and brakes were rebalanced, you wouldn't need the larger sizes on them. However, I do think that wings and engines, you would still need the larger size. We
I think you
have
would too.
large stabilizers in the game. Why
I think
not
you would
large
too.
wings?
But
Fuel
if
tank
they were balanced out a little bit better, I think that it would give you a little bit more flexibility on whether you actually need to have like an XL engine.
Yeah,
I mean, a balance pass though honestly would really mess up a lot of people. Like if suddenly adjusters were 2 times as powerful and medium wings were 3 times as powerful and weighed 4 times as much. Like I have ships that would fall out of the sky, you know?
Well, I mean, your ships would just overperform for what they do now. So
No, because I mean they're not going to give me 3 times the power without increasing the weight or something, right? Like there's going to be
Right.
trade-offs.
Gotta be balanced.
But my ship is no longer going to be balanced, as many people's wouldn't be. So I don't
But-
think that a balance pass is really a great idea to make any seriously dramatic changes, because
well,
it's going to mess up everybody.
the point
Well,
is, before release, it's going to have to be done anyways. It really needs to be done.
I think we're putting the horse before the carriage before the horse on this one. I think they need to go ahead and add in the next tier of items. If they add in the next tier of items, then I think later on, when it gets close to full release, a balance point pass at that point with ample warning of what the changes will be would be a good thing. But a balance pass isn't going to fix the item count, which is what's causing the most issue right now. The easiest way to fix the issues is to just simply give that next tier up of item. If they would do that, it's one model per thing, so you get you have a bigger adjuster, you have a bigger brake, you have a bigger atmospheric engine, and a bigger wing. So adjuster, brake, wing, engine. That's 5 items. They're just adding 5 items to the game.
Yeah.
5
Okay.
items,
Okay.
5
There's a reason why there
schematics.
shouldn't be there.
Oh, and fuel tanks, so 6 items.
On the fuel tanks, I would actually just balance those. It would be easier and it would just do the job. Just increase the numbers on the standard fuel tanks that are already there and just balance them out to where they make sense from XS to large.
I don't
Because it
know.
would be easier and it wouldn't need a new model.
Yeah.
And let's face it, a bunch of medium wings, tiny wings stacked on an Elcor ship looks silly.
Yeah, it
And-
does. There's a lot of
and
designs that I
90
would love to play
atmospheric
with.
engines look stupid. Like
Wall of
90
engines.
atmospheric engines for 8 extra large space engines is
And
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Look at the
I'm
back
just-
of the Eclipse. Again.
That's just silly.
I'm just saying that, like medium fuel tanks, the amount of fuel that they hold is just
Stupid.
Well,
It
I mean,
should-
here's the thing. Here's the thing that we have this great new voxel editor. Applause for NQ.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I feel like the thing that I can't help but feel like having heard a lot of criticism from people that left DU and are playing Star Citizen or whatever the other games are out there, they're saying, oh well, DU ships, that looks like a DU ship. And I think that the new voxel editor will empower a whole lot of people to do a lot of cool things. We just have to get a few of these elements under control so that from an engineering side, we can address the DU ship look.
Yeah. I think, well, there's been a lot of designs I've had in the past where I just couldn't make them because of the elements.
Yep.
Like there's designs I have drawn out that if I had large wings or extra large wings, oh my god, some of the shit I could make would blow your mind. I have some ideas in my head that would be a lot of fun. It's God, if I had extra large wings, I have 2 designs right now in my head that I sketched out months ago that would just be amazing with extra large wings. You just need 2 wings on them. They would just be amazing. But I think I don't think it was ever intended, like you said, for us to go to this level that you're seeing on the screen right now. I think when they intended original with the power systems, there would if the power systems were in the game right now, I don't think there would be anybody flying around with ships carrying 50 to 60 kilotons unless they were space only. You would not be seeing those ships on the planet.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, could you imagine if we had power systems and energy systems in this game and we were trying to, you know, balance this size of a ship?
Well, I don't think that we quite know what the energy systems are going to be like yet, so I'm not 100% sure. But
Serapis, there's one other thing that I would love to see in this game.
What's that?
If I want to build a multi-core ship, I should be able to, let's say I have a large core. If I draw a link from a medium core to a large core, then
Yes.
as long as that link exists, that thing acts like one structure.
agreed, 100%.
And that would allow you to build multi-core ships without fear of ripping them in half.
Space Engineers has a function that does that with a joiner block. But I can't remember what it's called, but it's a block that's got a little bunch of bumps on it. When two ships connect with that block, they function as one ship. Like the larger ship can control engines on it and everything on the smaller ship.
Yes, please. Even without the engine control, even just literally, if I hit this with the maneuver tool, it moves the whole ship, not just the docked ship.
Right. And it's easy. It's easy as them making it so you link a smaller core size to a larger core, and from as long as that link is there, it's not a docked core. It is one object.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta also think though. I don't think the building ships with multiple cores was ever an intended gameplay mechanic either.
Oh, sure it is. Yeah, no, sure it is. Go look at NQ's ship museum. They
Yeah,
have
that's true,
lots
actually.
of multi-core ships.
They do.
in
Okay.
there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And in alpha, they gave us lots of different little videos on doing multi-core ships.
See, I don't understand why
So-
they just didn't give us the extra large dynamic cores.
Well, I think there is some sort of database limitation there.
Oh, the Arc ship is an extra large dynamic core.
Is it a dynamic or is it static?
It's still an extra large core.
Yeah.
There is also several of those relic things from that whole relic hunt that was early on in the game that are all extra large cores.
Yeah, and as Dot Interplanetary said, the markets as well.
Yeah, so there are extra large cores in the game. We just don't have access to them.
Yeah, I assume there's some sort of
I can understand the
limitation they're
static
concerned about.
cores because with the static cores, you're looking at. I mean, you know the amount of lag that's caused with a factory on a large core. Could you imagine what somebody like, I don't know, Smallville could do with an extra large core?
Yes, please.
Yeah, what's the difference? I'm already looking at moving my factory from 1 core to 4 cores. It's going to be the same lag.
True. But I'm thinking they're using that's a justification to them. I'm not saying it's,
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying
And
it's
with
a good
Dynamics, it wouldn't-
justification. I'm just saying,
With Dynamics, it wouldn't be as bad if they gave us our extra large items.
why is there an abandoned core in my city?
Heck, I would take a extra large space core and just be happy where it's in space, less lag, not interfering with players, and I'd move my whole operation to space.
Oh, it's a bugged core.
It's bugged.
Just do an
Gotcha.
add NQ, get them to remove it.
Hey, a charger.
There's 0.02 M3 there, and it's just I can't find it.
So, hey, Serapis, I know we're reaching the end of the stream.
Uh-huh.
Can you please just do a recap that NQ Deckard or somebody can be pointed at?
Gotcha. Okay, so let's go back over what we discussed tonight. The first thing we did tonight was we hit up the core skills and the core management and applying cores. Bitmaven, thank you for the bits. It was not, and we're getting close to an end, but we can definitely hit that up on the next one. I'm very sorry, but that's not something that we thought about putting in it. I apologize. Industrialist 17, do me a favor in Discord, shoot me a DM in Discord to make sure that I get that and we cover that next time. Okay? Just send me a DM. By the way, if you ever have a subject that you really want to see discussed, feel free to send me or one of the moderators a direct message on Discord with that topic. I'm not saying send us 30 pages of conversation and text we got to read through, but send us a simple message saying, hey, this is something that I would really like to see talked about. And it would be something easy for us to keep, a notification saying, hey, and write it down. Post it. Also, you can post it in the Discord. There is a discussions request. Questions for Think Tank is the channel. The problem with the Questions for Think Tank channel is, well, it moves a lot. So we tend to miss things. So if we miss it, send us a DM, okay? Because we will miss things. It's a lot of information going on. Okay, so back to what I was saying. We went over the cores, organization core skills, applying them, all that stuff like that. We touched on the Voxel Editor. We showed the grid, the basic tools for that. We talked about the issue with docked cores being flown into affiliate tiles, which, real quick, Corzarius, can you go over that one more time for us, but since we have different people here now?
Yep. Just if you have any cores that have cores docked to them, so if you have a ship with a smaller ship attached to it, starting on Tuesday probably, although for the record, guys, I have noticed since this started that some are saying 2 days now and some are saying 3 days. That might actually be as early as Monday evening. If you fly it onto a Ophelia tile, there is a chance that it will just self-destruct the core and abandon the docked core right off the top of your ship. In a nutshell, basically, you haven't technically piloted it, and I think that that's what they're looking at for figuring out when it should be abandoned or not, is when it was last actually piloted or maneuvered. And since it hasn't been, the timers are ticking down. So if you fly into an Ophelia tile now today, you'll see that it's got the timer. It's already ticking down.
If you have space stations that are above Ophelia tiles, you need to check, because those are having 7-day timers, even if they're like over 100K above an Ophelia tile.
Okay, so those are the major issues we talked about right now. The other issues we talked about, the thing we talked about was the implementation of an additional tier of flight elements and fuel tanks for ships. The purpose for this being was to reduce element count on large core ships, especially, allowing us to have the ships to carry the weight we need to carry without having to have 800-900 elements on a single ship. So it's a balancing factor that would reduce bandwidth usage on the server and improve server performance for players.
And there is a vote in the announcements channel right now if you want to weigh in on which ones you think
which here
would be important.
Including, I think we also mentioned a fuel hub that would allow us to
it's on the list,
not have to center fuel tanks. That way we could set the center, set the mass for those fuel tanks based off the fuel hub.
That's in the list he posted. It's a top item, actually. But okay, so make sure you guys go to the Discord. Under announcements, there is a vote posted by Corzarius. Vote up and down. You can do a down vote, okay? So vote up and vote down. Don't vote up for every single item. Vote up for the things that you feel will be the most beneficial. This is not something NQ has asked us to talk about. It's something that we brought up as a group that we think would help both game performance and a reduction in bandwidth per server. So this is something that would give them two things they're looking for, and give us something to make our lives a lot easier. Meltuck 2021 says cross-core transfer is what I would like. I don't see why that couldn't be a thing if they had some kind of structure, an element that you could set. And
we had a discussion about that. I think it could be a problem, but
it would have to be balanced, and it would have to be something. That would be a major addition to the game. That would be a lot of coding. So it's something that would be awesome, but it would be a lot of coding.
I think we also talked about positioning blueprints.
Oh, true.
You want to go over that real quick?
Oh yeah, we also talked about the static, especially static and space blueprints, having the ability to snap those blueprints to the grid of an existing core and position them in that manner, as well as the ability to see a projector style 3D model of what we're placing so we can align it. That would reduce the workload on the developers and GMs, and it would make blueprints for statics and space cores actually viable. So those are the main things we talked about tonight. Check the vote in Discord. That'll be open until Monday. I'm going to leave it up for the weekend.
Deconstructing.
Oh, deconstructing, yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm going to go over that real quick.
What's a deconstruct? Oh, yeah, we talked about deconstructing. I forgot about that. So the deconstructing we talked about was for right-clicking on cores, deconstructing the cores, which would put all the elements and voxels into the containers you were linked to. It would have to be a system to where it would start doing it systematically, and then if the containers run out of space, it would stop. You'd have to connect to another set of containers and continue. And then when it's done, it would give you a blueprint copy for one-time use of that. So those are the things we talked about tonight. We talked about a lot of shit tonight. But it is time to call an end to this dud. So we are going to raid Angry Dad tonight. I know he'll probably raid somebody else, but that's okay. You guys have a good night. We'll be doing Do You Think Tanks every Saturday night. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Get them in here and get involved in the conversation. Okay? Y'all have a good night. Guys in chat, say good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
And we will see you all next Saturday night for DUT, and I'll be back Monday night for a regular stream. Good night, y'all.